Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. XPIN hits all-time high. Crepe inside. Crypto big moves for the weekend. Are we going to see that? Is it what you're expecting? Ladies and gentlemen, me here at St.JamesCrypto, I am in for the big run because we're expecting, we are hopeful, we're expecting, and we're also reading the charts, the signals, all the economic factors, all the economic effects, momentum, feelings, fear, greed, all these stuffs in the crypto market all played out this week. Now, a little bit of the week analysis and, of course, what we've seen. Of course, just as we predicted, we examined the charts, just as we also have those prophetic insights into the market. So, also, I would say we saw a week filled with excitement. Definitely yesterday, I feel that, of course, XPIN will already go, drop her zero, but it did actually because XPIN hit all-time high. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, you heard me right. You can check it. Okay, XPIN went up to 0.01. Then it went back down. So we have a resistance at that level. So, but what am I saying? Are we going to also look at the possibility that the market will surge on the weekend? There's a big possibility. The weeks, the chart, and all these factors we have in the crypto market right now, they all turn out for one thing, and they're all pointing figures to the one thing, which is we're in a bull run. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, if you're joining me for the first time, my name remains James Kenneth. You've not subscribed to my channel, please do that because that's the only way you're telling YouTube that you love what I do, and they will always recommend my video to you when I release one. So it's a Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, the 24th of October, and 1800 GMT Berlin time, and we're seeing what the market is doing right now. After the big hit crypto saw last week, we saw how the market took a lengthy whole week to recover. Personally, I predicted Bitcoin should be up doing what it likes to do, going up like, crazy. But it has been any kind of like slow and steady move to the upside. It go up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down. That's how the week has played out for Bitcoin. Of course, Ethereum, we saw the like pattern of Bitcoin also being repeated in Ethereum, going up and going down. Those sideways movements is what we saw also in Ethereum, and the same thing we saw in XRP. The same thing we also seen in Cardano, Solana, all these other altcoins. But there's one other coin. Of course, there are other coins that we also took insights on, and we saw, of course, a big move. Those are some of the uprising. I don't call them meme coin. I call them uprising altcoin like XPIN, ladies and gentlemen, because they have a huge utility. And as we call, of course, I expected them to be hitting $1 as soon as possible because yesterday it almost dropped to 1-0. And going into the week, into this new week coming, of course, not to talk about the week, but also look at what we're going to see on the weekend. The markets still have a very bullish momentum, a kind of cooling off for all this meme coin. Of course, then we're looking at also these great coins with utility, talking about XPIN. Yesterday, XPIN hit 0.1, and today we're expecting it to continue that movement. Of course, Saturday, because of the time difference, of course, it might still be midday in the US or early in the morning in the US, Australia, anywhere you're watching me from. The crypto market is still live and active. Of course, the European market should be, of course, closing down right now. But having said all this, we need to pay attention to where this chart might lead us to over the weekend. Of course, over the weekend, we all predicted, of course, sideways movement. But these days, last 2 to 3 weekends, we've seen crypto being very, very active on the weekend. We've seen pumps because why? We're in a bull run. That's why we expect a pump to the upside. But after looking at also a kind of a very intrinsic evaluation of the market, I would say the guys, people who are invested in XPIN should be, of course, you should be expectant because this market will continue to keep rising. And of course, those of you who are in my Telegram group, you know what we're talking about. You know, of course, our price prediction and what we're expecting for XPIN, for COAI, of course, and for Crepe. Those of you who invested in Crepe, one of those powerful meme coin out there to replicate what Shiba Inu did in 2020, 2021 bull run. So can we see that once again? Yes, of course. And of course, those of you who invested in Shiba Inu, we are yet to see that movement by Shiba Inu. But of course, I cannot say that we're going to see that this week. But yeah, Shiba Inu has what it takes. Okay. For those of you who are also looking at the bull market for this weekend, I'm still very hopeful and expecting both Crepe and XPIN, and of course COAI. Asta was like calm, you know. Asta being one of those uprising altcoin. It's gonna be a major altcoin, yeah. And of course, XPIN, a rising altcoin with great utility project behind it, and they are already in the bull market. Those cryptos are already taking their bull runs. So if you're not, of course, this is not a financial advice to invest in any of this crypto that I mentioned. You are expected. In fact, I advise you to do your own due diligence. Okay, don't invest anything that you are not willing to lose. Of course, so be wise and of course do your own research. Okay, so having said all that, you need to be I'm expected, of course, I'm not going to take profit anytime soon. So I'm going to lay down low and expect the market to do its thing. So looking at what we also have in the crypto Christian community, those of you who are in our channel, please, of course, you know what we are having. We're meeting tomorrow, and of course to discuss some of the insights in crypto, of course. And those of you who are having challenges with your wallet, with, of course, how to navigate the market, how to invest in these cryptos, how to sell, how to buy, how to transfer funds into your wallet. You know, these are the kind of issues we tackle on our channel. So I would like you, if you're watching me for the first time, please do this. If you want, you know, any of these assistance, what you're going to do, you're going to subscribe to our premium membership. And of course, that means you're telling me you need assistance. And of course, you're also making a little contribution of €3, €5. I think the biggest contribution is €10 right there on the channel. Of course, if you can afford that, if you want to, okay, contribute to what we are doing at St.JamesCrypto. And looking into the weekend, ladies and gentlemen, what do I expect? I expect XPIN. It tested yesterday 1 cent. I expected it to come back to 1 cent, and from there try to push higher. Crepe, I expect Crepe to be dropping 1-0 anytime from now, ladies and gentlemen. I expected it to be dropping 1-0. It went up yesterday up to that 408. I'm expecting there to enter into 408, 409, and eventually drop 1-0, you know, anytime from now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm expecting Crepe to do that. What about COAI? That crypto is also doing quite well. We're looking at a huge market into the weekend, you know. So yesterday it went up to $22. Okay, so which is huge call for me. I'm still gonna hold on, you know. Expect the crypto, you know, to continue to go on to the upside before I take profit. Of course, not ready to take profit anytime from now. As for the general market, of course, those of you invested in Bitcoin, which I know Bitcoin will recover anytime from now and it will continue to rise. Looking into the weekend for Bitcoin, do I expect any significant price action for Bitcoin? Not really. Why? Because of course, if there will be any price movement for Bitcoin, it takes huge amounts of liquidity because it's a super project. So that's why $1 million will not move much, but of course, it will also help, to move it, let's say 2%, 3%. Before Bitcoin will move, we need almost billions of dollars flowing to it. And right now on a Saturday, where those exchanges liquidity is not really moving, stock markets are closed. Do we expect Bitcoin to be getting all those kind of inflows of liquidity into the asset? I don't really think so. That's what I think. The same thing for the top big cryptos, because we need billions to make them move. Okay, that's why any kind of money coming to them will not make any significant price difference. That's why, of course, I stand to be corrected. I stand to be, to learn from you. If you think otherwise, let me know in the comment section. Brethren, brother and sister, have a wonderful rest of your Friday. And of course, see you on the next one. It's me, it's James Kenneth, and this is St. James Crypto. Bye-bye. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See you tomorrow. Yeah, bye-bye.